Like if you have a sister that you hate, and maybe that's a little bit much, but if you have a sister that just ruins every single day, makes it about her, then maybe she doesn't need to be in the wedding party. That sounds pretty extreme, but it definitely, sometimes I wish that would happen.
Welcome to the Colorado Wedding Podcast, the ultimate place to plan your Colorado wedding.
From luxury weddings to intimate elopements, we'll guide you through planning your wedding in the beautiful state of Colorado.
We're your hosts, Josh
And Brian.
And we're here to give you insider tips and advice from all kinds of Colorado wedding experts.
Join us and discover the best ways to reduce wedding stress and design your unique wedding day.
Welcome to the Colorado Wedding Podcast, the ultimate place to plan a Colorado wedding.
I'm Brian.
And I am Josh. So planning a wedding is stressful. There's so many pieces that go into it. You're hiring all sorts of vendors. You're coordinating with so many people. And a lot of brides are just stressed on their wedding day. And it's a problem. Brian and I have been in the wedding. We've been in the wedding industry for years, and we've seen all sorts of stuff happen. So we started this podcast to help you plan the perfect wedding and take out the stress. We're going to teach you all the tricks and tips to make it go smooth. And so you don't have anything to worry about on your wedding day.
Yeah, totally. I think that everybody wants an awesome wedding day, right? It should be the best day of your life, maybe the second best if you have kids. But I think that it's just so awesome to be at weddings. Love being at weddings. It's such a blast. We have such a good time filming those weddings and telling those unique stories. The biggest thing is we want that story to be unique, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we want your story to be about you. And I feel like so many people are obligated just to go down the standard checklist and just say, you know, hey, we have to do this. We have to do this. My mom said we have to do this. And you know what?
There's flexibility and freedom.
Yeah. Your wedding is about you. And you guys are getting married for a reason. And your wedding day should celebrate that. So we're going to be interviewing a bunch of vendors, a lot of wedding planners, a lot of wedding venues, florists, DJs, whatever we need to get the right advice for all the people planning weddings out there in Colorado. So I think it's going to be really, really awesome, and it's going to be a shortcut to save some time too.
So I'm Josh, the owner of Ascend Media. We're a video production and film company here in Colorado, and we do wedding videos and photos.
Yeah, and I'm Brian Edmond. I'm the owner of Bookend Photography. We do photo and video, done hundreds of weddings, and still love doing it every single day. So I have a wife, 3 kids, and life is crazy, but love doing weddings in Colorado. So blessed to have that.
Yes, I'm also married and 1 kid and 1 on the way.
Dude, it's coming up quick. By the time this comes out, you're going to have 2 kids.
Yeah, I will.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, today we're going to go through a checklist for planning your wedding. I mean, all the things you need to do, starting from maybe a year out, all the way
start at square one.
The day before. There's a bunch of things, and it can be overwhelming. I remember when I got married, it just seemed overwhelming. But we're going to boil it down to just some simple things, just a simple approach to tackle it, and we're going to tackle each one.
We're not going to go through every single thing in your wedding timeline. That would be a 4-hour podcast. That's not what we want. So we're going to go through some high-level stuff. But on our website, coloradoweddingguides.com, we're going to have the guide, the checklist that you can go through and use to plan your wedding. And that hopefully it makes that easier for you. And, after we talk to people and talk to other vendors who have other tips, maybe we'll change that. But we're going to make sure you have an overall checklist to get started, which hopefully will be helpful for you guys, right?
Yes. Cool. We'll dive right in. Okay, so the first one is budget. There's all sorts of weddings. Prices can range all over the place. You can throw a crazy $100,000 wedding, or you could probably do it for $5,000 if you're really smart. So, yeah.
Yeah, you just want to know who is going to be contributing to that. If you're going to be paying for it for yourself, you're going to make different decisions than if you have someone else paying for it, if it's parents, if it's whatever that looks like. And correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, but like we don't believe that your wedding should put you in debt. It shouldn't cost you your life, right? I mean, like you said, there's so many different kinds of weddings, and you can have an amazing wedding. You can have an amazing elopement. You can have an amazing huge wedding. You can have whatever you want, whatever people you want there. That's really the most important. But budget is really going to determine a lot of the other things on your checklist.
Yeah, whatever that is, depending what vendors and what venue you can afford and all that.
Right. And we know that budget is different vendors are going to cost more and some are going to cost less. And, sometimes that will determine quality and sometimes it won't. So we'll talk more about that in other podcasts.
Yeah. Okay, Brian, can you talk us through planning a wedding date and picking your venue? What's that like in Colorado?
Yeah, so Colorado's crazy with venues. I mean, many of them are for sure a year out, if not 2 years out. If you're looking for a Saturday wedding, it is going to be pretty booked up. And so there are a lot of Colorado wedding venues, and we will talk to a lot of those venue owners, but most of them are going to say that you need to book 1 to 2 years out, probably 18 months. And so you could get lucky if you want to have a wedding on a Tuesday, then that's totally different. If you want to have a wedding on a Sunday, you're going to have more options. But your wedding time of year and is really going to be affected by what the venue has available. And obviously some people don't want to wait 18 months to get married. So, you might have to be flexible to have it on a holiday or have it on a day that the wedding or that the venue has open. So
you could still book something for 5 months out.
yeah, I mean, I've heard of that, right? It's going to be a completely roll of the dice, but this should be a priority in your checklist. It just has to be. And if you don't think ahead on, a lot of people think that you pick a wedding date and then you go out and find a venue. It's not really like that anymore because say you pick June 15th, that's a Saturday. I'm just making that up. It might not be a Saturday. But if you pick June 15th and then you go around and everybody's booked June 15th, all of a sudden, you've already told people your wedding date and it's just not viable.
Yeah,
So,
bummer.
yep. So,
Priority number 1 or number 2 right there.
yep.
Okay, cool. Great. So planning your wedding party.
Yeah. This is very important. I think that people think that this is just a thing that's going to be automatic, but there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah. So big or small. I mean, we've seen stuff from elopements where it's just us and bride and groom, and then all the way up to I've seen up to 8 or 9 on each side. So that's just a huge wedding party.
Yeah.
And things get complicated with photos, but with photo and video, but it's a lot of fun.
Oh, the energy is insane. I love it. I think like a big wedding party is great. I think a small wedding party is great. And yeah, again, going back to it's your story and
Yeah.
you shouldn't feel obligated to have certain people
Mm-hmm.
in your party. I know, look, everybody has family drama, friend drama. I know
Yeah.
I do. So it's hard, right? You're going to have to kind of play that. But when it comes down to it, it is your wedding. And I think you should want the best people around you that are going to bring up that energy, going to give you positive energy. Like if you have a sister that you hate, and maybe that's a little bit much, but if you have a sister that just ruins every single day, makes it about her, then maybe she doesn't need to be in the wedding party. That sounds pretty extreme, but it definitely, sometimes I wish that would happen.
It is one of those days where you really do get to make it all about you.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
It's one of the exceptions where,
Be harsh. But yeah, I mean, that's going to be up to everybody.
yeah. Okay. So another huge important thing to do is hiring the wedding planner.
Yeah, so this can go a lot of different ways, right? So if you're planning your own wedding, if you're out there listening to this, and we're going to help you plan your wedding, by using some of this advice, I think that's awesome. You have mothers or sisters or cousins or friends who can help you plan that wedding, but just be aware it's going to be a lot more work. I think that wedding planners in the industry are kind of undervalued, to be honest. I mean, you can literally hire a wedding planner and then all the things on the checklist that you see, that's going to be taken care of for the most part with some of your advice. So just hiring a wedding planner, I personally would recommend it if you can afford it. And if you can't, that's great too. It's just be aware that it's just like going to having a job at your house that you're trying to fix the sink or something. You're going to go to Home Depot 5 more times than you think you are, that you would. And so that's true for wedding planning too. If you think it's going to take 50 hours, it's going to take 150 hours. So just be aware of that.
What does your relationship with the wedding planner look like through the whole process? Like how much do they coordinate with you?
Yeah.
And what is that?
Yeah, it totally depends on wedding planners. There's day of wedding coordinators, but what I'm mainly talking about here is a wedding planner. They might even help you find the venue. You may find the venue first, then the wedding planner. If that's the case, I mean, they're going to help you find vendors. They probably know vendors that they can trust, and that going through the wedding planner that they're going to be high quality. They're going to help you with your timeline. They're going to help you with bringing everything in. You're just going to have less errands. You're going to have less chores, less text messages, less emails, less communication with whoever else is taking care of that. So
Less stress.
less
Just
stress.
take it all out.
Yeah, I personally think it makes your wedding day way better. And I've heard brides and grooms say, if we didn't have this wedding planner, it would have been a negative experience. And so definitely something to think about. That being said, we have worked with tons of brides who have used their family and their mother and their father and their whoever else to help plan their wedding, and it has been amazing. So, but just be aware, there's some work there.
But the big piece is just getting that stress off of bride and groom.
Yeah, we're a fan of low stress, right?
Yeah.
So,
If someone can help you
yes.
do all that planning,
Yeah.
that's going to be great.
Yep.
Cool. So, wedding style. A lot of brides have a lot of different styles, and a lot of them have been dreaming for years about that perfect wedding.
Yeah, and the wedding planner would help you with this if you have one, but
Yeah.
but being aware of what that looks like.
Yeah. So with style, what are the different styles you've seen, ranging from super
Oh yeah.
luxurious
Oh my
to
gosh.
boho to
Yeah.
just simple rustic?
Yeah, I think the more effort you put in the style, the more it shows. But that's important to some people and not important to others, right? So some people are really, really into, what their table settings look like, what their colors look like, and other ones are a little bit more casual. And again, we're gonna say this a million times, but make it unique to you. But yeah, the styles. I mean, there's tons of different wedding styles, and we will have a podcast interviewing someone who knows more than Josh and I do about the particular wedding styles. But one way is to make a Pinterest board, right? Every vendor out there is going to hate me saying that probably, but Pinterest boards can be a nightmare, but they're an amazing way. When it's about the bride and the groom, when it's about whose wedding it is, it's a really good way to visually see. It's hard to explain visually what your style is going to look like. So
Yeah.
we don't need to go too much more into that right now, but I think that that's something that you should make about you. So I've had people who were really into Legos, so that they're, the flowers they had little Legos in them. I had people who were into Lord of the Rings, and so
I've heard that Imperial March, people walk.
oh yeah, absolutely. The music is amazing. So it's already written for you. So that's nice, a little soundtrack for your wedding.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think really put those unique details in there when it comes to your style, because it will make a world of difference. And from a videographer and photographer standpoint, it really helps tell that story. So when you look at it 30 years later, you go, oh, I remember we did that. It was even if it's funny, it seems goofy. I think, being willing to do that. And if you want to go really luxurious and you want to have a high level luxury wedding, you think about that too, if that's your personality. I think that it should fit.
Yeah, totally. Well, one more point we're going to talk about, this is a big one, is hiring all your different vendors.
Yeah.
So if you have a wedding planner or not, it's important to get those booked. If you can get them a year in advance, it's awesome, because you can grab their availability. But what do you think about, Brian, when you're hiring your different vendors? Do you go through any platforms? If you don't have a wedding planner, how do you get them yourself?
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of people use Wedding Wire or The Knot or something like that. This is different for every person too, but mainly I think it should be a personality fit is a huge part of it. And so that's one thing that's nice about working with a wedding planner, right? Is that they can hire vendors that they know they work well with. You're going to have to do some price shopping too, right? Let's just be real that it's going to depend on your budget. But yeah, I think a big thing is personality fit. Try to meet your vendors, whether that's over Zoom or in person. Look at their stuff on Instagram, look at their websites, and really do that research. Obviously, we come from a video and photography background, and so you can visually see what your stuff might look like. But the biggest thing that I've heard from brides and grooms is the thing that can ruin your wedding day is a bad vendor. One bad vendor can ruin your wedding day. So I've had ones where the cake came and it was smushed and melted and it was horrible, and that's all they thought about for the next hour, 2 hours, right? So make sure you have vendors that
and the attitudes of the vendors, are they going to make it work? Are they encouraging? Are they stress-free?
Yeah. And Josh, I mean, what do you think about how involved the vendors should be, or how do you communicate with those vendors throughout the planning process?
Yeah. So as a video and photo guy, we like to have everything planned and just be as stress-free for especially the bride and groom during wedding day. So we don't want to ask them any big surprises or really inconvenience them. We're just there to support their day. So if they don't want photo and video at sunset and us take them out somewhere and they want to be at the party, we're going to make it work. Whatever they want. It's all about them.
Yeah, and that vendor list can sometimes get long, right? I mean, some venues will have some of that stuff included. They'll have some of the design included or the food or that's all going to be in one. And other venues will be just a blank slate. So just something to think about. And we're not going to go through the entire list here, but we're talking about photographer, videographer, wedding planner would be even florist, caterer, desserts. I mean,
DJ.
Yeah, design. It could be a lot of stuff. So just be aware that there's a long list there, and try to get those knocked out earlier than later. I just heard about a lot of stress if you kind of wait till the last minute to do that.
Yeah, it's possible, but not encouraged.
Yeah. So I think for the most part, those are kind of just our beginning tips for planning. And like I said, you can go on to coloradoweddingguides.com and download our wedding planning guide.
Yeah,
and
it's more comprehensive. It's got every single thing.
Yeah, it's a checklist. Yeah. And we'll have other ones that'll dive into those things a little bit more. But I think it's a great place to start. And, like I said, we just want to make sure that you kind of cross your T's and dot your I's, but in a way that's not stressful. So there's a million things of value out there where you can go on. I mean, if you search wedding planning Colorado and you look for guides and YouTube videos, I mean, you could spend hundreds of hours. So we're trying to kind of get that down to a shorter amount.
At Colorado Wedding Podcast, we're boiling everything down to what you need to plan just the perfect Colorado wedding and all the tips and tools and all the resources you need in one place. So
and we'll be posting on Instagram some of those things too. And so feel free to reach out to us and just anything that you want to hear about. If you're like, hey, I really need to understand this, I can't find a good answer on it, let us know. We're happy to find a vendor or we can talk about that.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for tuning in today, and we're excited to release more valuable content in the coming weeks.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Colorado Wedding Podcast.
We hope you found our tips insightful for planning your Colorado wedding.
For all the free wedding planning tools, checklists, and guides, go to coloradoweddingguides.com.
Don't forget to rate us on Apple and Spotify, and be sure to follow us on Instagram at CO Wedding Podcast.
We appreciate you and hope you have the best wedding possible.
See you next time.